Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to something completely different. We are in EU4. That's right, not EU5. And today we're not just in EU4. We are in EU4 Anbennar, which is essentially a somebody's cracked D&D world brought to EU4. It is one of the greatest mods for EU4. If you haven't seen it before, go and look at the Steam page. There's no explanation I can give that can do it justice. However, Ammonart just received a major update. The Inheritors of Insia. Insia? The Inheritors of Insia. Yeah, we're going to go with that. Which, among many other new mission trees being added, I believe, in and around here, and revealing a new continent all the way in the Far East, it also added a mission tree for a formable known as the Goblin Overclan, and more interestingly, also entirely reworked the magical system. That's right, this mod has a working magic system, as well as many other things like a working um, interracial fantasy thing going on with like humans and half elves and us who are playing as goblins, and these things having direct impacts on how your country works and how your military works. For example, goblins are quite bad at shock and fire damage, but we are quite good at sieging and shooting guns. Whereas humans are quite average, elves are quite good but slow to breed and whatnot, as well as us being considered monstrous, as just a tacit example. As I was saying, there is a mess of mission trees for hundreds of different countries all over the world. Truly, it's a fantastic mod. Um, and today we're going to be looking at just one of them. Well, two, I suppose. We are starting as Marblehead in the Bulwar region, and will be forming with the goal to form the Overclan and complete the Overclan's missions as well. So yeah, I don't know exactly what the Overclan's deal is. I just was reading through some of the updates and it sung out to me. We will seemingly need to conquer our region of Bahar and Arudia, and we'll probably go into the Harpy Hills a little bit too. Let's be honest. Um, but it won't be that crazy. So without further ado, let's jump right on into the game and get going. Right, we have no estates because we're a clan. So we'll give greater autonomies for the chieftains, make sure that they're always over 50%. Yeah, we'll enforce meritocratic customs because we can. Oh, sure, and let's build shrines for the heirs too. Heck yeah. Yeah, sure, I like getting more money. And for our mages, we will. Well, everybody hates us already, so I could get reduced research regulation. Yeah, sure, why not? And we'll also give them caretakers of mage towers because, again, why not? We'll then seize land, summon the diet. We will not be allying with Landshark. And we'll go and put down that revolt. Um, we need to choose our rivals because many people around us do not like us. We are diplomatically isolated would be an understatement. Um, yes, because in this shadow or fog of war here, um, there is a massive mountain called the Serpentsreach, and it runs down basically the entire back of the continent. There was a massive green tide, a orc and goblin law, one could say, and they spilled out, destroyed a massive human civilization here, and it is only just being broken by the armies of man. We are the consequence of that. We are some of the goblins that did exit the Serpent Spine and have uh, spilled out into land under the sun and are making a name for ourselves out here, and the consequences that that will bring. And it seems just by choosing my rivals, I've actually managed to complete a mission accidentally, the Bastard Realm, uh, which by rivaling Azak Evran. Let's go. Azak Evran is a kingdom born of resistance and martial prowess. Once a fort in the realm of Barkland, It grew in size and power over time as precious resources were found near it and formally became a proper power when we crashed upon Barkan's smoldering corpse. These people of the fort were ruled by a bastard king, an intriguing fact, but one that ultimately matters not when considering their other qualities. The warriors of this fort-made realm are bred wholly unto themselves, a society of warriors ruling a state more than anything. If we were to conquer this fort and grant these warriors in the respect they deserve, we could gain access to Bahar's best and brightest warriors to bolster our iron but guiding hand. That doesn't read right, but yeah. So we do get claims on Azak Evran, and we already do have cores on their vassals, so it won't be long before we're coming to blows with them. Oh, and yes, also my entire country is the wrong religion and is mostly the correct culture, but certainly some of the wrong culture. Wonderful. Okay, well, without further ado, let's get some men recruited and go in for an early war before Azak Evran can really get too many allies. Okay, so Aqatbar was able to get one ally all the way in Vaharmar. I don't think that that's going to really stop me, just because they're so far away. They would need to get like 5 pieces of military access. I don't think it's happening. Um, so I'm still going to risk this very early war and see what happens. Um, we're just going to run in and hopefully keep them separated, run over Aqatbar, and then turn north and go against Azak Evran. And yet, just like that, they're coming to stand on my capital. And even though we are down a mill tech, we wipe them. Okay, didn't expect that. So let's run north, do our best to siege out Azak Evran. And you know what, Gray Sheep? I am short of friends, and I don't think I'll be killing you right off the bat, so sure. All right, so this war should be pretty well won, even if Varmar does come all the way up. And they have a war wizard. Of course they have a war wizard. Why wouldn't they have a war wizard? Uh, hey, yeah, Varmar, would you leave if I ask politely? No. I have an army I can't beat in terrain that is. Yeah, and he has a war wizard. If they take my capital, I lose. Farmar, you sure you don't want to leave? Okay. Oh, yep. There's Farmar right there. So maybe we can catch him in. That's bad terrain to take that fight. What about hills? Would he take that fight still in hills? No, actually, you know what? Let's just run back to Farmar's land and beat the piss out of him. Siege down his capital. Okay, leave a single goblin on the capital. Send everybody else north. We're gonna take this fight. It's gonna suck, but we're gonna take it. Ah, shit. Not with his vassals right there. Ah, piss. Oh, we're just stuck here even though I asked to retreat back to my homeland? Oh, and you're just gonna get pinned there and immediately butt fucked. Okay, that's the reload. A smarter man would just restart. But I'm not a smarter man. Okay, Farmar is almost certainly behind that, but I'm still gonna take the fight. Because I wipe them. Yes. Ah. And then I'm surrounded. And I can't scorch earth this. No. He is here tomorrow. 2 days from now. Okay, first things first, give my capital a defensive edict. And then get routed. Destroyed. Oh, no. Now comes my destruction because I got pink. Okay. I think I almost got it. I know I sound crazy, but this time, guys, it's going to be different. We are bleeding money about 3 ducats a month. Embrace feudalism. Kill that guy. Send my navy out to head pester that guy. Run south now directly into the arms of Varmar. Do we have enough men just to... No. Are we gonna immediately get... Okay. That one, there's potential in that. We had the stupid thing happen where you retreat and your retreating troops get caught immediately in the same province. Don't feel like that was fair. Please stack wipe. Brother. Okay. Go stand over here. Oh, okay. You just ran to your capital this time. Fuck you, man. Catch him. Kill him. Oh, well, farmer. They came here. Well then. Take that fight. Everybody. We outnumber them 2-1. Can't be that bad. Oh boy. Oh. No, we actually beat him. Holy shit. Okay. Go to capital. Because Varmar has 3k troops, all of which should probably just be in their country. So we are going to run into them before they can get more. Siege this down, jump on the capital. You come over here, split in half, siege that down. And before you know it, Varmar will want to peace out and give me... I can probably get war reps from him. Cool. I can get war reps and 8 more ducats. All right. First try, right? First try. Feeling good. Wonderful. Cool. Now we just actually have to win the war. Beautiful. All right. Nothing left to oppose me. This war went perfect first try. No reloads. GG. Easy. I will be taking everything. Thank you very much. How bad is that coalition? Coalitions aren't real. Oh, and Perel. Coalitions aren't real. Oh, that was painful. Alrighty, well, now that I have enough AE to piss off the 3 largest countries that immediately border me, I also need to get to 1 stab. Congratulations, and I get to do the proclamation of Aqatbar, which, let's see. The legacy of our great clan is one saddled at the back of our great founders, the 2 brothers of yore, whose visages stand tall in the square of Aqatbar, chiseled with the finest marble, crafted from the furthest reaches of our empire. The splendor of our capital and the brilliance of our empire would have made them proud, yet our leaders know they would not have stopped if they had chanced to merely unite the kin of Marblehead. No, they would have wished all goblins in Bahar and beyond these sands to be under our fold, united under a single banner stretched across all the lands. And with that, we come to the proclamation. Speeches have been rehearsed and the venue is set. Clan bosses and chieftains of the land have been sent their invitations, and it would be a breach of common courtesy if they were not to attend, not to mention a valid justification for war if need be. All that was left to do for the time being was to wait, and after several hours of waiting and chatting about war policies and the siege master in general of Mount Sugger, as well as stopping the high corsair of Landshark from taking everything on the table, the clan boss of Grey Sheep and his posse finally arrived, decked out in the sleekest, most in fashion among nobles. At the time, at his hip was a waifish harpy without so much of a smudge of brain beneath her eyes. Nice. Um, with all the rulers gathered, the party finally began. It was touted as a celebration of the Exodus and the stability of the new society we have formed in the harsh and unfamiliar land. They all drank and partied their hearts out, and by the end of the night, they were lying on the floor, the furniture, and everything in between. Empty kegs and trays of food were stayed all around. Their contents were sitting comfortably in the bellies of many guests. Surely nothing will spoil this. And then the proclamation aftermath happens in one day. Proclamation aftermath. By morning's breath, our guests had awoken, heads and bodies sore but happy nonetheless. Groggily, they were about to go their separate ways, a thankful huzzah on each of their lips when they were halted from the exiting doors of the capital hut by a legion of Marblehead divisions in a scribe. They were pressed in with a sheet of paper. It was odd to them, but somehow familiar. It was a shared contract that had each of the ruler's signature on it. The Lord of Landshark was too grog to read it, and the boss of Mount Hugger was unable to read it as well as would admit. That's just written oddly. Leaving the gray sheep boss to come forward and read it out, and with every passing phrase, the clan boss's face grew paler and paler. And furthermore, we pledge ourselves as direct vassalages, rulers, under the authority. The goblin trailed off. His horrified face followed the glares of the fellow minor clan bosses, trained on the Marblehead's clan boss, who stood before them with a growing, victorious smile. Of Marblehead. They can't reject what's been signed. So we get a subjugation CB on Landshark, Mount Hugger, and I suppose also Landshark if they still existed, or not Landshark, Gray Sheep if they still existed, as well as a bunch of claims, and we unlock a decision to act upon these agreements. So we can enforce the proclamation, which they're all at peace. So if I click this button, oh, we just deck on them. Okay. Maybe I would have wanted a second to think that through, but I guess we're just going. Yeah, okay, can't stop now. I guess we'll deck on Mountain Hugger and go for both of them at the same time. Yeah, okay, this wasn't exactly what I was planning, but unfortunately it seems to be what we're doing. Like that's really gross, but that's the best I could do, and that's immediately gonna throw me at war with the dwarves. But this way I get to save like that piece of Landshark from everybody else. And Mountain Hugger becomes my vassal. Alright, well it's gross, but it's what we're gonna do. So now I just inherited 3 different wars. And I have to figure out which ones I can win in what order. So I'm going to first swing north really hard towards Arudia. Oh, and my vassal hates me, of course. That makes sense, though. I did just, backstab you. Okay, so from the dwarves, I will take war reps and money, just to keep them down for a minute, because the copper dwarves get incredibly rich. Okay, which of you do I care about killing more? Arudia is worthless, Rayrel has a lot of money. Well, that answers that question, although you're a Sun Cult member, and that will piss them off more. Okay, so instead, I'm gonna let Rayrel go, if I can help it, because I don't need the entire southern colony trying to come up to kill me. And you guys are going to go and burn down Arudia, and we're going to take it for ourselves. That's what we'll do. Okay, so we are going to make Rael peace out for just some ducats. Alright, from Balrud, we will, of course, take everything as well as all of their money. Again, the coalition, not great, not terrible, it's okay. What we're going to do instead, create a subject, Landshark. And Landshark, I'm going to give the minor task of holding on to that, that. Why are you uppity? Because you don't like me. That's fair. And I'm just going to make sure that both of my vassals love me to the best of their ability while I go and actually consolidate my gains. Oh boy, okay. So where does that put us in our mission tree? working on integrating the land there. We do need to get an admiral, apparently. So let's get an admiral, and that gets us finishing the job. Uh, it was they who declared on us, who crashed upon us in Valmstein, a peaceful settlement built by goblin hands, with their pathetic and jealous armies, and what for? A broken country, and their lands overrun by those they sought to conquer. It is so pitiful a sight to behold, people led to suffering in such delusional state to think that they could defeat, that their defeat was merely a fluke. No matter, it is time to show them how one properly conquers a country. We will get a permanent claim over a bunch of land, most of which we already have, I believe. Yeah. Then we have the Traitor's King, which, if we can get a spy network into Dartarzigurdium, I believe, then we will get a bunch of permanent claims on him. That's probably a good target considering he's a member of the Old Sun Cult, which means that his religion is different than everybody who's part of the New Sun Cult. And kind of by extension, will not piss everybody off nearly as much. Alrighty, wow, that was a fast open, and we are back to being decently broke, but we can just sell more titles. Our vassals are slowly coming in line. We are a real power of the of Bulwar out of nowhere. I wonder, we could just deck on Obscub's Child and feed it to Landshark. That might not be that bad of an idea, especially if his ally isn't coming in. Fine. Let's go and clean this up really quick. And just like that, Obscub Child falls as well. So I'm planning on just taking all of this land, handing it over to Landshark, and basically telling them to figure it out because I don't want to have to pay attention to over here. As well, once we send that demand, Landshark stays good and loyal. Yes, fantastic. Because I need to turn east, as I have just fulfilled the requirements for the Traitor King. The clanblocks Drax rose in arms to defend his people, followers of a religion near indistinguishable to those that we conquered during our exodus. It was our actions that brought about his rule, while our numbers. It was our numbers that fell upon the walls that diverted the attention of the armies from our mutual enemy away from his petty revolt. Our spears and blades that killed the army that would have crushed him, and our might that broke the soldiers of Archon of their resolve. Had we not conquered, he and his human ilk would have been powderized. It is time to weaken his rule, and to bring the hearts of his followers away from him and his lofty ideas to our enlightened fold, which will give us a bunch of permanent claims and a breaking Drax's authority event. That's this guy right here, again, the one that's the Old Sun Cult. So we'll just pop that, and we will... Drax has made himself an enemy of ours, and this is something we will not stand for. He has hailed himself as a sycophant and the savior of all of Bulwar, and the true inheritor of all the sun touches. Fine, if he is so great, then he has no doubt should be able to survive something as small as a rumor, correct? Let's see how gullible they are. Hopefully, while he is distracted, I could probably just put a monstrous conquest on him, right? And that would give me another way into Rayurel. Really what I'm interested in is picking up provinces that the Grey Sheep once had. I could release them as a vassal, get some cores against the Harpies. And does he have any good trade goods? He has some iron and stuff, but nothing as good as gold. So yeah, I would just be to pad out stuff and get more Goblin conversion. Now, the reason I am essentially on this warpath is as soon as I let off the gas, the Sun Elves will start to get their shit together. And once they do, it's going to be much more difficult for me to run around and pilfer. So I need to make sure by the time it all stabilizes, I'm the dominant power in the region. It also means I should probably be spending more on rooting out corruption. So yeah, I think I am just gonna go straight on in to the Traitor King. Not because I need to take that much land. Although I do need to get over into... Yeah, I do need to get over into the land here. So yeah, go and pop over, pick up the land there. Yeah, that's what we'll do. So, Monstrous Conquest, show security, and start picking up some free land, because he shouldn't be able to stop us. Actually, do I want to bother trying to kill Rayrel at the same time? No, I'll let my vassals take care of that. I'll just take their money again and diplomatically isolate them. If I'm lucky, they'll get cut up by Krathnor and Ovalthungar. We've also just completed Old Realm New Rulers, which is going to cost 150 admin. And yes, I'm aware I'm down a stab, but eh. This is just going to strip cores from these three provinces up here, I believe. Tenkar, Aqatbar. No, it's going to strip the cores that we actually have on our capital, and lower separatism in my whole country, and basically explain to the humans of the area that as long as they play our game, we don't have any issues. We're all friends here. All right, we're gonna do this peace deal in two steps. First, we're just gonna take the fort from Rayrel. Can't afford to take that much more, and their money, of course. I want to keep a somewhat short truce with them. I'm gonna keep that fort to myself. I'm not gonna worry about integrating it just yet because we're about to have a lot more land to integrate. I'm also going to full annex Darthungernum, mostly because I think while it's under a old sun cult, it'll be cheaper than doing it otherwise. There's a lot of people that are going to be very pissed with me for doing this. Um, yep, that's just it. Um, Out of that though, because this is enough that I would choke on all of that integration, I will have to re-release the Gray Sheep, and I'm going to give them land on my behalf. Basically, all of this land to the south besides the fort, because I think they would delete it if they were given the opportunity. Basically, so that I have multiple AIs working for me, annexing and integrating things. Oh, how bad of an idea is this? I might deck on Byzantines just to break the coalition, because I think I can beat like Byzantines and Elysna. I don't think I can beat Byzantines, Elena, and all of what's happening over here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. So we're gonna put down this revolt. We're also going to deck just a humiliate rival CB against Byzantines, because I really don't care about this war. I just need to be at war to keep them down. While we're doing all this and everything's exploding, we're going to also deploy the Marbleheads, which will give us bonus shock damage for 25 years, as well as unjustified demands. We were once dubbed Marbleheads by the elves of Barkond. They laughed as we wore the heads of our great heroes and figures of our past as they rained their arrows upon us. We laughed in turn, however, when their joyous face melted into fear. Their arrows bounced uselessly off our makeshift armor as we descended upon them in unimaginable numbers. Today, we wear that namesake like a badge of pride, the term personifying our cunning and strength, allowing us a victory that would decide the history of this land and our empire forever. In honor of this past, the most elite legions of our nation are known as Marblehead divisions, often marching with enchanted helmets, painted white and melded to resemble etched marble. We obviously can't defend the ocean from these guys, so I've just been killing them as they make naval landings. We do outnumber them significantly, as expected, but you can see we've just been mulching them whenever we get the chance. Hopefully, we'll actually be able to start sieging down the war goal. Once we can get our hands on the war goal, we should be able to just take a load of their money. We are bleeding ducats, and I don't entirely know why. Well, I mean, I understand why. It's mostly on the money and on the ports and the war and all that. I just would choose to ignore it. Maybe if we actually sat down and took a deep breath and stopped on the constant warpath, we wouldn't have war exhaustion and wouldn't be bleeding money and wouldn't have rebels. But hey, we're doing it, so we're doing it live. Alrighty, so we do peace out with Byzantines. We basically had them full siege down for war reps, 120 crowns, and a humiliate. The reason I bothered going through on the humiliate is there is an age objective here that I wanted to get, and I know that monstrous rule can generate a lot of points, and I am behind on points. Let us build up closer to our limit with our big horde of goblins and go and burn down the dwarves. Again, different religion, so people shouldn't care as much. Hopefully, by getting a nice treaty with these two, some of that AE can burn off. I'll start improving relations with somebody like Varhamar, who we shouldn't come to blows with immediately. The dwarves sit on a whole pile of money, right, with the copper under their hold. And yeah, so we'll go bully the dwarves, take their money, and bully these guys, take back Land Shark's land, take Aventech 3, alrighty, and just kind of stabilize for a second. Alright, well, seeing that the economy kind of blows up if I sit around and kind of stop the warpath, I think I'm going to go in on Uvalde Thungar, and they're allied to Krathnor, so I'll be able to take back Landshark's island. And Uvalfungar would be really nice to get, as there's a lot of really nice trade that passes through here, and that's 60 dev. So yeah, I would like to get there 50 dev. I would like to get that under my thumb. So yeah, let's go piss off some dwarves. We're on equal tech. My vassals are right there. Everybody's loyal. They should be able to deal with Krathnor. Yeah, let's away we go. Monstrous conquest. There we go. We catch the dwarves out and shatter them. Fantastic. And so long as we get to be first back to the hold, we will win. It'll only be a matter of time. Alrighty. From Krathnor, we are going to take the single island and give it back to Landshark, all of their ducats and war reps. Alrighty, and just like that, Oval the Thunger has fallen. So we are going to seize both these. This will antagonize people, but not that much because Odwaldfinger is wrong culture, wrong religion relative to them. We will also take all of their ducats and send them on their way. Again, Odwaldfinger going to be very expensive to actually core. Yeah, 162. So it is just going to sit there for a minute. But in time, we will actually bring it under our thumb. More importantly, it means we get more of this sweet, sweet trade, as that's making up a significant chunk of our economy. We are in an absolutely awful position when it comes to our mana generation. We are making 2 Diplo a month, and I need to get to at least Diplotech 4. And if I actually employ somebody, I immediately start going negative. And I can't actually integrate any vassals because I'm also over that due to how poor my Diplo rep is due to being monstrous and overextended. Because if I actually was to come here and try and annex Landshark, it is going to take till 1517. So we may as well get that started, I guess. Even though that means I'm only making 2, count it, 2 dip a month. Oh boy, and the coalition has just popped, and that's 70,000. Okay, well, I probably can't fight that coalition. What do they want? What would be their suggested offer? Wow. Wait, suggested offer and they wouldn't even take it. Uh-huh. And it was Aurelium that decked it. I'm about to be in a world of hurt. And my vassals aren't loyal. I'll just have to break them as they come on the forts and hope that that's enough to hold them. And that's really all I can do. Okay, so the AI has got me by the balls here pretty good, and I don't think I'm actually going to be able to pull it back. So what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to concede. So I will stop coring this land because one other important thing here. I will also concentrate development into my capital. Um, Fuck you, Old Wolfhanger. I am going to make peace via canceling my subject of Grey Sheep and Mountain Hugger, as well as releasing Odvalthungar back into the world, and paying a absolute shitload of money, and going quite deep in debt. But I should be able to recover from this position. I'll just re-annex or re-vassalize the guys once the truce is up. Um, Hopefully this gets people off my back. There's 70,000 of them. I can't, and they started casting fireballs to break down my sieges. I can't break it. So hopefully we're able to recover. Why not? There. Okay. Again, a lot of debt, but at least we actually have something to keep rolling over. Alrighty, so that war was rough, but we're in still a very recoverable position. Just gotta, take back land that was wrongfully stolen from us. The Grey Sheep and the Mountain Hugger won't be that hard to get back. The Ovalthungar will take a moment, but we also should be able to get our hands back on the dwarves. Yeah, it'll be just a minor setback. And I mean, as a trade-off, the worst of our aggressive expansion is past, right? So we just have to sit down and actually breathe. In 1470, we can move up to Diplotech 3. That's how good our Diplotech gen was. Hopefully, we can actually start to get some marketplaces soon and get more trade, because I think trade is how we're gonna fix our economic downturn. I think is putting it politely. Alrighty, and alrighty, and now we can do our own coin. Just finally was able to build up a temple in our gold mine up in Azak Evron. This is going to cost 100 gold or 100 ducats, 100 admin, but give us better better tax modifier and better inflation reduction, which is useful because inflation is slowly creeping up on us. And to give you an idea of just how stable we are, our entire country, because it is wrong religion, different culture, um, oh, wonderful. We are basically threatened with constant revolts, uh, and our religious unity is absolutely awful. Where can I point to that? Yeah. So our stability and everything is incredibly expensive too. So we really are just taking our time to actually stitch together a country. We're able to put the revolts down well enough. They're just expensive. And we can finally take Admin Tech 4, which will let us pick a national idea. And I believe for national ideas, one moment, let me just take a look here. Our Marblehead ideas are better looting speed, better discipline, cheaper advisors, a little bit of max tax, and a little bit of tolerance of heathens, tech cost, monthly autonomy change, and national unrest reduction, as well as some siege ability. So we probably want to worry about military, just because everybody around us doesn't like us. Um, do I prefer quality or offensive? I really like offensive for the even better siege ability. I could also go tolerance, but I feel like I don't need it yet. Right? We have some time. I could probably pick that as a second or a third idea. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go offensive. That extra discipline will be nice, and it'll give me a place to spend my mill. I might pick up Mill Tech 6 just because it's very important, and everybody around me, one, either already has it or really doesn't like me. So by being up on mill, hopefully I can kind of ensure my own independence. Yeah, well, this is still a little dicier than I was kind of hoping it would be. For example, we can see the Byzantines going in on the gray sheep already, which I was hoping to clean up in a little bit. Not exactly what I wanted, but you know. Yeah, and I think they're gonna full annex them, aren't they? Well, they might just cut them in half if I'm lucky. Alrighty, and we can do another one of our missions, reinvent the boat. I'm not going to say it's fantastic. It just gives us morale, navies, and galley combat ability. But it does mean that we can get on to our next mission, which we need to get about 5 docks and make sure that all of our own provinces don't have any devastation, and will give us a bunch of free production, which is really nice. And we can finally pick up a age reward. So we will of course go monstrous rule. Just hopefully, this gives us a couple more mana points as we are tight. I need to get up to Tech 6 really bad for the workshop, and then our focus tree will open up a lot and give us a lot of opportunity. We're also in an interesting position where we're definitely going to have to fight the Byzantines a couple more times, as they've taken all of the Grey Sheep's land, and we're probably going to have to fight the dwarves again very shortly once our truce is up, as they're about to take all of the Mountain Hugger land. So, you know, like I said, brief period of Reconstruction, and then back to the warpath. Yes, beautiful. And this is the event that I was after. So this is just going to give us 50 crowns, 20 of each power, and that's a very powerful event. We have it until the end of the age, which isn't for too long, but you know, it'll help. Also, at the end of the war against Mountain Hugger, Krathnor and Ovalthungur, one left Mountain Hugger alive, so I'll be taking them as a vassal or conquering them and releasing them back out for their cores. And they created the Republic of Aqatbar, which I don't have a truce with. So I'm going to hit it with a car and use that as an excuse to invade Ovalthungur, at least to probably take the gold mine. Even if I don't do that, I might just take a bunch of their money, maybe seize this province here. And just like that, in we go. And a beautiful cleanup. The dwarves really don't have enough that they can stop me here. Without their human allies, they're pretty strapped for manpower. So this should be a pretty good cleanup. Alrighty. And with full sieging down Notable Thunder, their land is too expensive to take, so I am just going to take their trade power, their war reps, and all of their money. And that will do me quite well. Although for the little OPM right here, I will be taking all of their stuff. And once the truce is up, I'll also just be going in and burning down Mountain Hugger. Alrighty, and we're also finally able to pick up the marketplace that we need, and I'll slap that down in our capital, and this hopefully will give us a much larger share of our trade node. Alrighty, and let's pay, frankly, a stupid amount of points to get Advent Tech 6. Again, is it the most efficient thing? No, but I do just really need to be able to lay down a workshop. Because once I get this done, well, also it's going to make, 70 or 0.7 of a ducat for me, but it'll just let me get to the rest of my mission tree and hopefully push out a little bit better. Alrighty, and just like that, we get to the Grand Capital mission. To call Aqatbar the crown jewel of our empire is but a gross and disturbing misunderstanding of what our society is and how it is run. Aqatbar is not a part of the empire, it is the empire. Within its walls and plazas, millions of souls dwell. Goblins perched upon the rafters of marble and sandstone, while other races wander about the streets, engaging in open and public displays of their culture. Humans and elves hold hands and sing songs, while goblins and dwarves play instruments beneath the statues of our great founders, their eyes watching it all unfold. The city shines with splendor of those we conquered, shining brighter with every new project and construction. The jewels of our conquest and the people they bring, and the harmony and prosperity brought within their labors and cooperation beneath the watchful eye of our kin. Akbar is not just a city, but a blueprint, a microcosm of what our empire will bring to all the land unity, order, splendor, and glory within our enlightened grasp. It'll also take a lot of random dev and put it all in the capital and convert it to be Goblin and our religion and give us some gov reform. And it also opens us up to our next step, such as needing to get 25 fleet, controlling all of the Goblin clan's cores, and basically rolling them in to our society. We've also just managed to finish integrating Landshark, and with it, we get a whole lot more land, as well as hopefully more powerful. Oh, and we get maps into, wow, they could see a lot of the Enchanted Forest. And let's go and do a cleanup job on Mountain Hugger. This is going to bring us into conflict with the dwarves yet again, as I believe they are guaranteeing them. This time we might actually take things from the dwarves. Not too sure. Or I could just wait and go in on Krathnor and use that as a way of getting in on dwarves. At some point I will beat up the dwarves besides just taking their money. But I digress. Mountain Hugger. Declare war. Monstrous conquest. Run them over. And while we're at war with the dwarves and goblins, we also get our sharks on our shores by finally having a fleet of 25. The land sharks are particularly boorish and wild peoples, unlearning our kind during the exodus that brought us here, yet unwilling to calm their barbaric ways and serve something greater and far more ambitious than the wild raiding operations they've always known. No, instead of taking up our offer of peacefully joining our United Goblin state, they chose to storm off to the shorelines and perpetuate the backwards ways of our ancestors, content to gnaw hungrily at the shoreline settlements and other ships with their boats and rafts, intent to snap up anything in their jaws and consume them for all of their worth. Their jagged nature is bound to have them butt heads with a foe too tough for even their teeth to cut through. Their strength and fury bound to simple chaos without the guiding hand of good and tactful master. With us at the helm of their boats and their guiding their teeth to appropriate targets, our navies will be unstoppable. And that gives us that gives our ruler an extra dip point, and we get morale of navies for 25 years, as well as a couple of claims on this area. Alrighty, and we're finally able to piece the dwarves out. So we are going to give that one province back to Mountain Hugger, as it avoids AE, and take all of their money, war reps, and trade reps. War reps and trade power all over again. And with Mountain Hugger, once we get over there and actually break or full siege them down, we're going to full annex them and then re-release them, as that will reset the massive amount of opinion malices that we have and make us, or hopefully make them loyal instead of just a vassal. Fantastic. And just like that, they're willing to come to the table. And now that we have them gone, I should be able just to re-release them in those two provinces. Fantastic. And yeah, there's absolutely no massive opinion malice. I've also been following, I think I'm going to go in on Ray Real. They've flipped to being the old Sun Cult, so taking their stuff is not as antagonistic. And, you know, most of my AE has come to pass. And their only alliance is with the Byzantines. So I should be able to basically burn the Byzantines down, free their vassals, and then turn and get rid of Rayarel. And once they're gone, then I think I might worry about Krathnor. Okay, so yeah, now we're gonna deck on Rayarel. Rayuel? Yeah, Rayuel. And go in on their ally of the Byzantines. Byzantines. and hopefully liberate these guys from the Byzantines while we're at it, and steal a bunch of money from the Byzantines too. So without further ado, let's go and just clean up a bunch of free 1K stacks. Alrighty. So from the Byzantines, I am going to take war reps, just a little bit of ducat, and a single province where the Grey Sheep do have a core, so I can use a Reconquest later, just to basically free them back out into the world. So we'll end that, and now I can go north and just roll over Rayuriel. And finally, just like that, we wipe Rayuriel off the map. Nobody really cared because they were, again, wrong religion relative to everybody else. And that means, well, not that much really, but it does mean that we're one step closer to uniting at least our part of Ahar. Alrighty, so I was just looking at going on Krathnor, and I think I can do it. I think it would be a little. It's going to be expensive, and I do have to be aware of the two armies in the north because they're both Miltech 7. But if I can roll over Krathnor and the dwarves, then the tech advantage shouldn't matter that much. And with my Reconquest CB, well, am I going to do Reconquest or Monstrous Conquest? I'll do Monstrous Conquest just because I want to pick up as much as possible. No, I'll do Reconquest. Yeah, because I want to make sure I actually clean up everything here. The dwarves, I'll use this to reset my truce with them. I'll just make them peace out. Krathnor, I'll do my best to push them off as much as possible. And I really don't want to antagonize the Empire any. And I'm going to be taking a lot of land from a Regent Court member as is. So I'll just do my best to politely step out of the way. So yeah, let's see how well this goes. I do have to make sure to catch and basically destroy all of Krathnor. And if I can do that, then this will go much better. Which, it was a good battle, but it wasn't the wipe I was hoping for. Alrighty, and just like that, we're basically able to immediately push the dwarves out. I'm just going to take a couple ducats and some more reps, just so that I don't have to worry about them or any navy they could raise. And the rest, I should probably... they do have quite a big fleet, but I'm rocking decent naval buffs, especially if I put on free wordmen. I should be able to challenge them at sea with my galley fleet. I just have to be careful because of things like, of course you have a war wizard. Why would you not have a war wizard? Yep, you're magical, aren't you? A powerful mage. Everybody's a powerful mage today, aren't we? I don't like you. And by just sitting on top of Netherlane, we should be able to force them out. I don't really care about them, so I'm just going to let them go. I'm going to try and do something similar to Arn. Because once I get Rayuriel on their own, it should be easy. Oh man, we actually were able to beat the War Wizard in battle too. Okay, yeah. This is a matter of time. And we're able to piece Aaron out for war reps, trade power, and money as well. And that just leaves Krathnor, which, despite me being sieged down a little bit all over the place, really shouldn't be that hard to just jump on and kill. And for my next idea group, I think I will go tolerance, considering all of the land I'm taking over is, different people. And it seems that the mission tree is suggesting that we're a very multi-racial empire, with goblins and dwarves and elves and humans and all that living in unison. So there's no real need to force convert everybody that hard. And it also opens up the door. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because it's Aventech 7, I can also start to demonstratize. Which, yes, will basically normalize relations and make it so not everybody hates me minus 100 just because I'm seen as monstrous. If you are familiar with old EU4, it's kind of like old school Westernization, roughly. You just have to make sure that you pick, slightly painful events consistently, and slowly, your monsterization level goes down all the way from 100 to uh, 0. Okay, at the chance of having another decently sized coalition, I am going to take all of Krathnor and give uh, Mountain Hugger its lands back. This is definitely ambitious and could bite me in the ass, but I think I am more, well, I say with rebels, I think I am more stable than I was before and could refute an invasion like that again. I also already have diplomats working on sucking up to people. And also, oh, isn't that just so much better? So yeah, key people that I have to worry about: Busalar, Sigimber, Gruvia, and basically I will just be kissing up to people until they are willing to calm down. We also get to go from just being a clan to an overclan. Yay! Which the important part about going up to an overclan is it gives me another diplomat, so I can start improving relations with people to encourage them not to join the coalition, like how I'm about to improve relations with Sealandale and hopefully get them just under 50. I don't need them to love me, but I need them to not be doing that, hopefully. The current coalition I could beat, but if it gets too much bigger, that's unfortunate. If it gets too much bigger, I might start to have concerns. That's exactly what I was trying to avoid. Although that's really not that bad. I mean, that is a fair amount of troops. I should be able to handle that. Another important thing that we can do, is we can buy our way into the Renaissance, which yes, I will pay. I took out a bunch of loans to do that, and slightly more importantly, we can also, or well, slightly less importantly, buy specifically 5, 6, 7 artillery pieces, and once those finish, we should be able to finish surrounded by mountains. Um, and also just having cannons will be nice to encourage people not to mess with us. And we get to the mission surrounded by mountains. The Mountain Hugger clan was once a noble and righteous clan, equal to us in stance and stature, brothers in arms when we crashed upon Brahar for the first time, trying to escape the Orcish yoke. They charged alongside us as we trampled the forts in Barkhand, sliced elves in twain along with their human thralls, and faced their superior firepower with nothing but numbers and our relentless determination. What is left of them now, however, is a shade of what they once were. The noble clan had rejected our promise to keep them safe in our fold a long time ago, and now look what has become of them. Savages following the path of the mountainside, left unable to grow their own food and forced to crash themselves upon the bastions of other civilizations, using their once iron-hard resolve to focus on the destruction of walls and forts with unending waves of bodies and battering rams. It's time to bring our degenerated brothers back to their senses, to remind them of who they once were, and use their relentless and dogged determination to crush our enemies, united under our flag, as we had long ago in our exodus. So our ruler will gain a mill point, we'll get a decent guy, and we get, more importantly, uh, oh wow, we also inherit the clan. That's cool. Okay, so I wouldn't have had to actually, I wouldn't have had to inherit or integrate land trade. So we inherit Marblehead, we gain a mill tick, and we gain a chief advisor. That's really cool. Okay. So then Gray Sheep is going to be that's awesome. I really wish I had maybe read ahead earlier. And yes, once we actually conquer the dwarves again, we'll be able to do marble to copper. All right. So I am aware of the large coalition hanging over my head in the west, but I think I'm going to swing into Presenti's sides. They're very weak because they've been doing their elven investigation wars all the time. It'll give me an opportunity to get my land, my subjects' land, back, and to pick up because I do need some Harpy pops um, to accept Harpies. So it'll give me an opportunity to do that. And I could also finally pick up these tiles here that I need. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. We're going to deck with, I guess, Reconquest. Yeah, we'll do Reconquest and kind of just see how far we can get with it. Hopefully, the coalition doesn't trigger, but if it does, we'll deal with it when we get there. Okay, so we are going to take a very aggressive peace deal against Byzantines. Um, we are going to give back Grey Sheep all of their cores, take these provinces, and eat provinces into Harpy land. As well, take 100 ducats to boot. This is going to give us a massive amount of antagonism with all of the states in Bulwar, as well as kind of piss off some states over here as well. To what end? Well, it's what we need for missions, mostly. And hopefully, it doesn't spiral too bad. I might have to kind of deck in on Irlam just for the love of the game and basically cycle a couple of things as the coalition is getting somewhat large, but I also probably have to deck on Odval Thungar on cooldown. Either way, this allows us to get herding sheep. The Grey Sheep were our fellow brother in arms during the Exodus. Unlike our other brothers, they primarily fought with their cunning, commandeering rams and devising ingenious solutions to issues of management and technology during the Exodus, obtaining us necessary food sources to fund our expeditions southwards from the mountains. They had refused our calls to unite as a greater whole and found their tactics and ideas failing against our common foe as they lacked the numbers and raw powers of our combined forces. What remains of them now are poor sheep and ram ranchers, seemingly content to stew in mediocrity while using their cunning and brilliant minds to sew and knit things, trading their beautiful creations for a fraction of what they're truly worth at foreign markets. No self-respecting goblin people should live like this. With their weakness spelled clearly out for all to see, their subjugation is inevitable. We must bring them back into our fold before another, less kind empire inevitably comes knocking at their door looking for free fashion advice. This, of course, gives us another admin, some manpower, and some claims, as well as inheriting the Grey Sheep. And just like that, all of the opposing Goblin clans have been integrated again. As well, we really just need to do a bit of coring and have some people accepted and develop our lands. And we should be on our way to a prosperous unification. Just like this, we can also convince the humans. Why can we do this? Because we accept Bahari and okay, yeah, sweet. So we convince the humans. The men of Bakarhand were ruled for millennia by foreign rulers and have almost never seen a period of respite where they can call themselves rulers of their own souls. Instead, the iron grip of a foreign power, whether it be the Jinn, Gnolls, or Elves, is all they have ever known. It is truly pitiful, and is likely something which they are used to, but not appreciative of. Luckily, we are nothing like those old conquerors, and we have something that humans have been craving for millennia: autonomy. The sweet, sweet sense of self governance. They may get a taste of it if they simply fold to our rule. They will never get to actually rule themselves, of course, but for a time, they can make the decisions for themselves while we provide the pressures that will make following what we want the best course of action. More importantly, we get a large decrease of monstrosity, and we get +1 possible advisors to the end of the game. And each of the cultures, elves, dwarves, harpies, and humans, can give us possible buffs. That's why I'm kind of going around trying to collect them all. We also have now pacified the elves by employing a sun elf advisor. As such, the elves were occupiers of this land. When we be rid of them, we were doing this land a favor, but not the elves. The fertile lands they once inhabited are ours first and foremost, but we have delegated the occupiers the scraps they once left to the humans and monsters that were unfortunate enough to live under their rule. However, it seems they're not taking to their new lands well, some even agitating for rebellion. While we are certainly not the kind to rescind what we have earned, we are also not in the market to eradicate an entire race. They are far more useful alive. While we may not be seen as benevolent rulers for at least a few generations, we can at least grant them the assurance that they can practice their faith freely under our rule. And this will, of course, give us a large increase in monstrosity, and we will get cheaper admin advisors for the rest of the game, minus 10%. Alrighty, and just like that, our truce with the dwarves is up, so we're instantly gonna dogpile on them, even before I have morale back in my army. I can't risk them joining a coalition. And we're just gonna roll over them. Okay, well that fight's gonna hurt. But besides that, we should roll over them. Alrighty, and from the dwarves, we are going to take everything. This is going to be a fair amount of aggressive expansion. It's going to antagonize everybody a decent amount. And that's why I'm going to take their gold too. And like that, we have actually unified our main region of Brahar, as well as Rudia, and are a decent way into the Harpy Hills. So I think we definitely actually need to chill out now, like I've been saying for the last, since game start. Because if I didn't know any better, I think people are getting a little upset. Okay, I have a really stupid idea. I have these two provinces that are a core of Alarion, and I have been waiting for Alarion up here to die, or for me to be able to diplo-vassalize them. Neither of those things are going to happen. So, I think if I spit these two provinces out, I can then deck on Alarion and force vassalize them, which I have two missions in my tree. Yeah, I have feathered advisors and no matriarchs in my hills that both require me having that Harpy vassal. So I'm just going to do something stupid and something I've never done before and just return the province to Alarion. Okay, well that wasn't... I should have read that a bit closer. But, yeah, now I can deck on Alarion with Monstrous Conquest. Sucks about you. But I should be able to... If I send an insult first, get access all the way up there and destroy them. It really sucks about this one. Alrighty, and after a little bit of butt kissing, I was able to actually get the Masked Butcher as a vassal. They have a interesting story, as far as I understand, but it's more so that I just get to annoy the heck out of these two dwarven holds. Okay, so I am going to deck on Jelkaris because I made a mistake when releasing it. And that's going to lead to two things. One, I'm going to have to go against Ansbad, which won't be that big of a problem. It does mean I will have to come to blows with Varamar, which also should be a problem, but is just somewhat notable. So, should be a really quick... I just accidentally declared war on Varamar instead of Jelkis, which is impressive. I'm gonna also deck that war on Jelkalis as soon as I can, though. And just like that, we deck on Jelkalis too. We'll roll over them really quickly. Maybe what I can do out of this is just end up taking all, like, because I was reading another way in the missions to do this is just to own Harpy lands. I don't know. I'm really trying to figure out how to do that without derailing the whole campaign and having to go kill Jadari. And just like that, we clean up Jelkalis. And while we border Alan, I am going to deck on them, sending an insult. After sending a warning. And once we... And I'm going to hopefully be able to vassalize them while going through the effort of hunting them down. Hopefully. So I will deck war on them too, and just kind of try and sneak up there. Alrighty, and from Varhammer, we're going to take these 3 provinces in 30 ducats. Very much. Oh, wow. Okay. And at some point, I must have missed when, but we're going to suffer from internal conflicts. The disaster. I've never had this fire before. Was what triggered it? I don't know. Oh my. Okay. Well, we're about to lose a lot of stab and get a lot of rebels. Great. Well, we should be able to stabilize this, no problem. It's just a little bit annoying. And a little expensive on the admin. Okay. And against Alarion, we're going to do something kind of weird. I'm just going to make them release a country from up here and take all of their money. Hopefully, Jadari annexes them. And when Jadari annexes them, I will release them as a vassal because they have cores. I have a province where they have cores. Yes, I have a province here. So hopefully Jadari full annexes them. I know hoping for the AI to do anything is the same as wishing upon the star, but I'm kind of busy and I can't stay in this war forever. Alrighty, so fantastic. So the Jad ended their war, or the Jadari ended their war. So now I'm able to release Orion as a subject right here with none of the negative penalties. So I can just improve relations and curry favors with them. And oh. Okay. Well, I will have to fight the Jad at some point. I mean, that was coming anyway. But I will have to take this province and keep it for myself as I need that to be a core. The good news, though, is that I will be able to get feathered advisors nice and easy. So that's nice. Alrighty, and just like that, we do get feathered advisors by just having a Harpy vassal that is loyal and has 100 opinion, which, nice. Alrighty, well that was unenjoyable, and I really hope that I never have to deal with that again. But it was basically just sitting around killing rebels, waiting for stuff to be over. On that note, however, I think we're going to deck on Jadari for a couple reasons. One, we need the Queen's Throne to be ours. We also have a lot of cores, thanks to Elarion. And they seem to be kind of busy right now. So I know they hit like a truck with their cavalry, but as long as I make sure that we stay in terrain that's bad for them, like up here, all this mountainous stuff, and don't actually come down, I should be able to, one, break their cavalry, slow them down, and then two, kind of break their momentum and take the province that I need. So let's deck for Hetun. I do have to make sure that I get that at the end of the war. And once we're finished with the Jad, we're probably going to have to go and get Sheds in there. Just because we need the, we do need this hold. So far we've made it this far south before the Jad have even shown up. So I don't know when, but I feel like I'm just going to get hit with like a wall of horses. They're only at war with me. I think they're not only at war with me, sorry. I think they're also at war in, yeah, you can see a little bit of red. I think they're all the way over on the far side of their empire. So if we're really lucky, basically I'll be able to burn this all down before the Jadari even show up. But just because I don't trust it, I've been essentially doing a very slow crawl as we siege forward. Alright, I don't know where any of Jadari's armies are, but I've started sieging down his capital all the way over here. And I'm going to basically, well, I'm over 50% war score without having had a single battle. So, like, it almost feels like a trick if I didn't think the AI was so incompetent. Ah, and there it is out of the fog of war. His entire 47k stack comes a charging. Unfortunately, I really don't want to be on this desert. I want to be on the mountains with my own guys, I think. Oh, have you been left out to hang? I should probably run you down there too. And something tells me this is going to be a big fight, and holy shit, they don't take that much damage, do they? They have 15% extra discipline. We're up on tactics. They're up on morale. If we weren't in a negative, if we had better train, I think we could have won that. Oh shit, I forgot he's fast. So he might just catch us before we get back to safety. Where is safety here? Up north in the mountains. What's stupid to me though is right, I'm up, 40% war score. I can't take this single tile because I haven't occupied any forts. However, the only fort he has is on the other side of his country. Ugh, honestly, I cannot be bothered here. Just give me. How much money will you give me? You would give me 1,000 ducats. Is that enough to pay off all my debt? I mean, it basically is. Ugh. Yeah, this war is not worth the effort. I'll come back to it if he looks like he's weak again, but I'm not going to bleed all of my manpower into the dirt when I can just get that and pay off all my loans and be making stupid money. In slightly better news, we can also now repair or begin to repair the hold on Ovalthungar, and by doing that, we'll be able to progress down another mission after we also acquire this mithril hold here. Alrighty. Now, for hopefully a better sortie into Shaztundir, we're just going to go try and get their capital, which I say just, it is a 42 dev hold. It is going to be quite a war, as they're allied to Ovald Bloodhome and somebody else up here that I can't see. But hopefully, just by sieging them out, if we get ambitious, maybe we can give some extra stuff away to the masked butcher, let him be in charge of the hallways and whatnot. But away we go. Well, I'm not gonna lie, the dwarves have been absolutely slaughtering me. However, they can't keep up their losses. Um, and I will always find more goblins to throw into the furnace. They just have very good, competent generals and a whole lot of artillery, and I have numbers. So I may lose by the hundreds, but what I kill they can't replace, and that will tire them out eventually, and eventually I'll get into their walls. Just like that, slowly, surely, painfully. See, this is what I was after. Hopefully something like this will break Jadari down a little bit more so that once I'm done here, I can look back east. Alrighty, fantastic. And the dwarves are willing to peace out, give me the hold, and just a little bit of money. Could I fight them more? Yes, but I want my strength back because I think I'm gonna have to go against Jadari again. So we take the hold. The benefit of that means that in time we'll be able to do, once we repair both of these holds, our next mission. Yes, so as you can see, Jadari is getting absolutely run over. So while he is completely destroyed, I'm going to take advantage of it and run him over myself. Yeah, no, just in the name of getting this single province and, of course, as much money as I can. That's crazy that you're all the way over here. For reference, Bavari is like a fantasy Indian tag that is from somewhere over here on the map. And the fact that they've made it all the way over here while fighting against Jadar is kind of nuts. Alrighty, so Jadari is finally able and willing to throw in the towel. Don't worry though, he's still getting run over by, I think this is his fifth chained war. It was me, Greedy Grin, somebody from Fantasy India, Tuluk, and now, who are you? Wow, a two province miner's getting in on that. Yeah, okay. So from Jadari, we are going to take all of the provinces up here in the Harpy Hills region, which, oh, sorry, and these two. I'll take a little bit less gold for that. Um, we will take, of course, 900 ducats and send him on his way. There is some amount of AE for that, but honestly, nobody here can really oppose me anymore. And I'm just going to click the Coral button and, well, actually, no. Yeah, I really shouldn't do that. What I'm going to do is make sure that I keep my hands on this here, um, and give the lion's share to Orion so that they can do all of the coring and the hard part, because most of this should be their culture anyway. A lot of it is. Oh gosh. So yeah, demonstration is quite a painful process, but we are now finally not demonstrized, but semi-monstrous, I believe, right? If we look over at Buslar, yes, we are only semi-monstrous, which hopefully, yes, that does open up more of our mission tree. So for example, we can now, because we're semi-monstrous, which was a requirement for this mission, study elven designs of boats. Our kin are a proud and ingenious race. If one were to ask anyone who to go for something destroyed, they would likely point to one of our kin, with little exception. However, we are not particularly good at building things that last longer than an explosion, and though it has been an enlightening experience for our craftsmen and thinkers to build structures, houses, and things of the kind, we still have not mastered the ability to make a boat bigger than a longboat that doesn't immediately collapse in on itself. Luckily, what we have now is more than a state, but an empire with access to more than just goblins, unfamiliar with the sea. The elves, though of an inferior mind, have a particular knack for building ships, one of them fabled to have sailed for 1,000 years. That gives us a tolerance increase of elves, which will actually make them integrated, 300 diplo points, and an advisor I'm not going to use. And we are now, there's actually two missions due. So, from marble to copper. We were at one point dwellers of a city of marble, a stone known for its inherent beauty and natural luster, instilling a sense of purity and order just from a look alone. Marble, however, is not representative of our strength. Marble cracks despite its sheen. Marble does not bend. Marble is seen by some as a sign of decadence. The smiths of Odvalthungar, dwarves, are professionals at dealing in copper, another, less glamorous material, though one much stronger than marble. Copper bends. Copper does not break easily as a helmet. And, combining new constructions with the conquest of our greatest enemies, we can prove both our strength and capability to change with the times. So we're going to take some dev away from some places and put it into Udvalthungar, as well as giving the dwarves autonomy, basically letting them do some self-rule, Udvalthungar being right here. And also Bahari Timber. Through our invasion of Bahar, we were likely one of the greatest things to have happened to the region. One notable exception of our just invasion was the travesty that befell the sturdy wooded forests between our initial holdings and our targets all along the cities of Bakarund. Their destruction helped fuel our just and righteous war machine, but also left the fields they once inhabited barren and notably woodless for our current purposes. Since we've already given back to the people of Bahar so much, it is time to extend that kindness to the land we now inhabit. So we're going to lose 150 ducats. We will lose some monstrosity, and all of our woods and forest provinces will get a temp. Well, 35 years is a decent amount of time, but local production efficiency and local trade power bonus. And then once we have max legitimacy, we should actually be able to click this button. Oh, heck yeah. Okay, so I just gotta wait for legitimacy to take up for a bit. Oh, I hope you weren't tired of story time yet, because don't worry, there's still a little bit more to go. We have same old neighbors. There's been no time in our history where such a thing like this has happened, where we have taken control of a hold populated by dwarves and not immediately defaulted to kicking them out. Well, it would be doubtless much easier. Well, it would be doubtless much easier and infinitely more entertaining to kick the Longbeards out. The promise of our society extends to all the people of Bahar, and that includes extending an olive branch to what was once our worst enemies. It is a hard task to work with them, which is why, for at least a few generations, we will let them rule themselves nominally under dwarves who've more loyalty to coin and greed than their own kind. So that just means that we get minus 10% cost on military advisors. So now I'm just waiting for this province to finish coring, for this to stop being devastated, and I need to liberate this rebel control thing, and I'll be able to click this, and then I should be able also to form the Overclan once we reform into a monarchy. Oh boy, and we actually just got everybody's favorite radical reforms event. So we're of course going to fire both of our advisors, gain the free Diplo points and admin points, and then just hire them on back. Fantastic, and now that we have a courthouse in Hunthum, we can do no matriarch in my hills. Bahar only has enough space for one great empire, and that is ours. The matriarchal clans of the hills may have had their day in the sun, but their day has set long ago. With the inherently inferior management skills and wild, untamed nature, it is a miracle that a state solely ruled by them has lasted so long. Though they have ruled admirably, it is time we end this charade of allowing them to botch the management of their own lands and show them how a proper race runs a state. And by extension, we get the Harpy marriage event. A ruler needs to display their power in every single aspect, and what better way to display one's strength and wealth than taking the queen of another state, the head of that state, as your own bride, subordinate to your rule. A union will take place on this day, binding the master of all goblins in Bahar to the queen of all harpies, a show of power and assimilation. So we will get an increase in tolerance of harpies and a new consort. And okay, yeah, that's nice. That wasn't exactly what I was expecting. What's more interesting is she doesn't appear because this is a consort or a regent, and he's also 85, which I would love to see a Harpy bouncing on that. But yeah, that's cool. We're just waiting for some of the devastation to wear off here, and then we'll be able to do the last couple. And finally, after a whole lot of minor deving and setting down some useless but needed forts, we get what we once raised. During war and conquest, one must consider a few things. What can you reasonably kill? What can you reasonably take? What can you reasonably keep? Our war bosses and clansmen were wise in their conquests, and it is with their wisdom they had considered many of the constructions of the foolish elves and humans to be useless, ought to be used for greater, more useful constructions like catapults and battering rams. However, we may have been overzealous in our raising and burnings, as now we have to build what we once destroyed from scratch. This gives us just a bunch of production dev all over the place and gives us some goblin minority size. And finally, this takes us to the sunset cities. Regardless whether it be the best of times or the worst of times, our kin has found it difficult to resist the pull of Rael and Krathnor. We oblige their whims and move them to these cities en masse, both to civilize them and bring them further into our fold. In this epoch of our enlightenment, perhaps darkness for our foes, these two cities serve as beacons brighter than all the rest, jewels for all to see, and to believe the truth of our burgeoning empire, once seen with doubt and incredulity. And that gives both of those cities a goblin minority size and a bunch of government reform progress. Krathnor is here, Rayuel is right here. So we basically can't do anything until we get to our last reform. Maybe what I do, and hear me out on this one, is flip over to learning by doing and then spam out. I would have to build, if it's for, after building a market, temple, or courthouse, I would have to build like 13 just to pay it back. And then if I built 20 buildings, which really isn't that many. Yeah, okay. So I am going to pay the expensive cost to flip to learning by doing. And then, I don't have that much loans and I have a fair amount of money, take out just a stupid amount of money and invest back in the country in simple buildings that may not be that important, but will return value in some way or another. Okay, and we have gotten one clan to rule them all because we finally made it to 100 legitimacy. A century for elves chosen by the sky, a millennia for dwarves old as stone, an eternity man forced to lie, crushed beneath a foreign throne. In Brahar, these empires died. One kind surged from caves to build one of our own. In the lands of Brahar, where Aqatbar lie, for goblins to rule them all, with goblins to guide them, our empire to bring them all, an imperium bind them. In the lands of Bahar, where Aqatbar lie, a famous excerpt from the epic poem The Luster of Aqatbar, etched into the side of the marble pillar by the high propagandist Plazon. This is just going to give us some stab cost and some maximum absolutism to the end of the game. Not that exciting, but it does mean once we are no longer tribal, I can go and form the Overclan right away, which is what I wanted to do, and this has taken a little bit longer than I expected to. But hey, maybe that just means it's going to be 2 parts. And yes, it very much was worth it. It took a little bit of debt. We do have about 4,000 ducats in debt, but we can now reform into a monarchy, which, oh boy, immediately gave me a pop-up the Age of Artificer. One moment, let me read what this does. Okay, so this is specifically asking me to choose if I want to have mages or artificer, which is like fake technology. I will resolve this after we form Overclan and see if this is relevant to the mission tree. So first, let's form the Overclan. Beautiful, beautiful purple color. Of course, we will take on the new traditions and ambitions. So we will go for our Marblehead ideas to the Overclan ideas, which gives us improved relations, max promoted cultures, heavy ship combat ability, cheaper advisors, more advisors and female advisors, cheaper tech, cheaper stab, siege ability, artillery fire, and idea cost and artificer force fraction. As well, let's go to the Marblehead missions, which seems to be just an extension of our Overclan mission. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go the in-between route, as that will make sure that I don't miss out on anything either way, which is going to piss off both of them a little bit, but you know, c'est la vie. As well, we get to choose the name of our country. That will be, I believe, the Overclan, as that is what I'm actually able to pronounce out of these. And we will read the Toll of War. Status report. Officer, Governor Gazalok Isdur. Summary, the inefficiencies of current Balhari tax collection practices continue to mount. Travel time is up 35% from its most recent local minimum due to the inadequate state of the region's roads. And when tax collectors reach their scheduled stops, there's often nothing to collect due to a region's devastation and obsolete census data. A regional revitalization effort would be costly in the short term, but the macroeconomic effect of state investments have great potential to revitalize the entire region. Requisition: 7 construction crews, a 55% increase in region allocation from the Economic Development Fund, and temporary moratorium on eastward Bulwari expansion. And we get possibly new academies. The Orphaned Few. Report: due to recent conflicts, the number of orphan children have increased within our borders. Most notable among this population are the Loyalty orphans, those with mixed goblin-human parentage. Certain officials have suggested wide-scale recruitment of these orphans into the government apparatus, citing historical precedent and the potential for advantages of bureaucrats with no loyalties to anything or anyone beyond the state itself. The Voltoja, the goblin human mix are known to be sterile, which prevent them from establishing dynastic lines within the administration, something that is clearly detrimental to the interest of the state. Attached, you will find several proposals for enacting the recruitment system and maintaining its function, as well as potentially useful assets. Wow. Okay. So we're doing like a keep the sterile orphans to be like a eunuch class. We're pulling this straight out of Warhammer 40k, huh? Alright, let me just fill out the rest of the government here very quickly. Alrighty, well, on that note, I do have to set this down. Don't worry, we will be seeing more of the Overclan. This is just part one of probably two. This just took slightly longer to get together than I expected. Can't really do a breakdown like how I do in EU5, but you can see we've converted some more people over to Goblinic Shamanism. The culture is a hot mess, like even worse than it normally is in Anbennar because we're growing very multicultural. We are making more money, significantly more money, and once I actually stop bleeding money on interest, we will really be in the money. And technologically, we've kept pace with everybody else. Certainly doing better than Jadari. But yeah, if you enjoyed EU4 Anbennar, leave a comment down below. As always, if you have something you want to see, leave a comment down below. I read them. And as always, thank you very much for your eyes, ears, and time. This is Brown Dog 2 signing out.